everyone, Screaming Geek Media here. I am Jerry the Geek. Today's topic, we're going to actually got another discussion video for you. We're going to talk about the movie Maestros, what makes a good movie, some of my favorite composers and favorite soundtracks. But before we get into that, if you like physical media, if you like 4Ks, Blu-rays, even DVDs, you like home theater, movies in general, check out my other videos on my channel, like, subscribe, turn your bell notifications on. And always feel free to comment below. Let me know what you think of any of my videos. Good or bad, I'm not, prejudiced. I don't get my feelings hurt. I think I might rub people the wrong way. I do get a dislike here and there. I'm not sure what that's all about. They don't say anything. They just hit the dislike button, so I don't know what about. Now, up for discussion today is movie Maestros. What makes a movie great? Sometimes you can almost say the music score can make or break a movie, but not often does it break a movie. I mean, there has been a couple times, I don't know what they are off the top of my head, but every once in a while I'll come across a movie and watch that. I'm thinking in the back of my mind that, yeah, they could have had better music with it, didn't work. That doesn't happen very often, but normally the music scores are pretty damn good. But a great music score can take a movie to a whole nother level without even thinking about it. Not just intense music, melodic music. A good music score can evoke a lot of emotion out of you. A lot of times watching a movie, if you take the music out of the equation, the scene, is decent. But if you got a good background music to go with it, it really, sucks you into it. Especially like sad scenes, like hospital, funeral scenes, that kind of stuff. If it gets to, right stuff, I mean, like I said, it really evokes a lot of emotions. And there's movies out there, the music alone will actually kind of make me tear up, which, I mean, when you get into some of my favorites, we'll get to that, some of them that actually do that. You talk about, great music scores is iconic music scores. The great iconic ones, when you hear it, you know what the movie is. Like when you hear Star Wars, hear Star Trek, Beverly Hills Cop, another one, you hear that music is like, you know what that is. Jurassic Park, Titanic, Superman. So it's like, there's, what kind of, like I said, there's really good music scores. They become iconic and you know what they are without even, you just hear it and you're like, wow, I know what that is. And usually when you think of movie composers, the first name that comes to mind usually with everyone is John Williams with, Star Wars. He's done so much for, Steven Spielberg. We'll get to that later, but yeah, he's one of the names that you think of when you think of composers. And there's a lot of other ones out there. So I just wanted, doing a list, I'm going to talk about some of them that you might not think of and some of the movies they've done. There's some I've only had a couple that's popular than other ones that aren't. And then I'll get to I'm going to do some honorable mentions, a whole list of composers that didn't quite make the top 10, and then my actual top 10 composers. So to get into some honorable mentions, some really good composers out there that, I just couldn't squeeze it there. That's why a lot of people do out there do a top 10 list. It is a pain in the ass when you try to narrow stuff down to 10 things. And so, I did it, but it wasn't easy. That's why the honorable mention list is pretty lengthy. I got quite a few to go through. But I just want to discuss them, get them out there. Again, comment below, let me know what you think. So the first one, these are in no order as far as number-wise. They're just thrown out there. Didn't want to try. 10 was hard enough. I wasn't going to try to put these in any type of order. So the first one at the list was Harold Faltermeyer. Of course, his top ones are Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2. He did Top Gun, Fletch, Running Man, Tango and Cash. So he's done some pretty decent ones. Next up, I'm good with butchering names. This is an old school. Uh, Ennio Morricone, I might have butchered that, I'm not sure, but he passed away in 2020. But he's done some decent scores. He's done quite a bit, but the top ones I threw out there that everyone would know, the newer movies that he did, Hateful Eight. Then you go back, he did Bulworth, and he did the original The Thing. Phenomenal, definitely one of my top. Definitely a great music score. Another iconic, themes when you hear it's like, wow, that's a thing. John Carpenter. Next up, we have Howard Shore. A lot of those you probably don't recognize the name, but you would recognize the movies he's done. He's mainly known for doing the Middle Earth. He's done Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. He's also done Hugo, Big, The Fly. So he's been around for a while. He's done some really good stuff. Next up, we have Mark Mancina, which of course he did Twisters that just got a 4K release. He also did Shooter, Moana, Training Day, which, yeah, we're not going to go there. My thoughts on Training Day. But anyways, he did the score for that. Bad Boys, the one with Will Smith, Martin Lawrence, Speed 1 and 2, Con Air, which he shared the credits with Trevor Rabin. Those are all great music scores. Mark Mancina does a great job there. Next up, we have a Polish composer. Another one I'll probably butcher the name being Polish. That Wojciech Kilar. I don't know. I probably screwed that up. I'm sorry. Most of his movies I've never heard of. It could be in European, but there's two movies that will jump out that you know. One definitely, Bram Stoker's Dracula. Phenomenal score from beginning to end. Great. The other one you might notice is The Ninth Gate. He did that one as well. Next up, we have Randy Edelman. Phenomenal composer. Surprising when I was looking up the stuff he's done. A couple of them I knew about. A couple of my favorites. Dragonheart, Daylight, Anaconda, Triple X. He also did Last of the Mohicans, The Mask with Jim Carrey, Kindergarten Cop, Ghostbusters 2, Twins. Then a couple of TV shows he's done. He's done MacGyver, the original plus the rebooted series. So I thought that was kind of interesting. He was involved in both the new and old. So some great stuff there. Again, when I think of Randy Edelman, Dragonheart comes to mind. That's definitely one of my favorites. Next up, we got another good composer, Michael Kamen. He passed away in 2003, but he's done some really good stuff. Of course, he's most well known. When I think of Michael Kamen, I think of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and also he composed Metallica S&M, and just always done when you think about mixing, heavy metal music with classical orchestra, that is an incredible concert. It's definitely one of those I wish they would put out on Blu-ray or even 4K instead of the crappy DVD I've had for years. But besides those, he's done The X-Men, Iron Giant, Event Horizon, Lethal Weapons 1 to 4, the original Dead Zone, Highlander, Adventures in Babysitting, Roadhouse, Die Hard 2 and 3. So he's done some really good stuff. Next up, we have Thomas Newman. He's done a lot of stuff, but the most popular ones, there's two that's easily distinguishable. Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile. Phenomenal scores there, incredible. He's also done 1917. Those are the three I jotted down, most popular, but he's done a lot of stuff. Next up, we get Elmer Bernstein, another great composer. Sadly, he passed away, in 2004. But he'd done National Lampoon's Animal House, Meatballs, Airplane, Heavy Metal. So some great classics there that he was involved with. Also, he did the score for American Werewolf in London, which I was surprised to see his name attached to that. The original Ghostbusters. But the one I come to think of for him is Wild Wild West with Will Smith. Great cult classic movie that he did the score for, and phenomenal. Next up, another composer that you might not know of, Patrick Doyle. The one I think of for him is Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Another phenomenal score there. But he's also done The Death on the Nile, The Emoji Movie, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Thor, Aragon, Needful Things. So some great movies there that he's done. He's done a lot of other stuff too. Next up is a composer that I wanted to put in my top 10 because all his scores are phenomenal, but he mainly does his movies and not scores for other movies because it's a director that scores a lot of his own movies. And that would be John Carpenter. But he does phenomenal work. He did the scores for the first 3 Halloweens. He also scored the new trilogy, which he also scored with his son Cody, which I thought the scores on all 3 of those were incredible. He also did, the original Precinct. He also did the original Assault on Precinct 313. Can't get that out. The Assault on Precinct 13, the original Fog, The Escape from New York. Of course, I think Ghost of Mars and others as well. I mean, he's done a majority of his movies. So it's incredible the director has that kind of talent that does scoring as well. Next up we have Steve Jablonsky, probably another name that you've probably never heard of, but the movies he's done are great. Did the Transformers 1 to 5, phenomenal scores. I mean, talk about that when I did my reviews of all the Transformers movies. Great music scores there. He also did the remake of Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Battleship, Skyscraper, another phenomenal composer there that he's not someone to sleep on. So any of those music scores, available, definitely I would recommend picking those up. Next up, we got John Debney. He did Cutthroat Island, I Know What You Did Last Summer, End of Days, Iron Man 2, Predators. He also did Horizon, the American Saga Part 1. He's also did Part 2. Next up, we got John Barry. Another sad passing. He passed away in 2011. But the most notable one he's famous for is Dances with Wolves. Beautiful score there. Definitely a top tier, music score. He also did Howard the Duck and King Kong from 1976. And the last of the honorable mentions would be Brad Fiedel. He's got a couple iconic scores that you have to think of him because they're incredible. Terminator 1 and 2. Those are incredible music scores. But he's also done, he's done a lot of stuff, but their 2 popular ones are Fright Night, and he's also done True Lies. So that pretty much does it for my honorable mentions as far as music composers. I know it was a lot to go through, but let's get into my top 10. This was very hard to do, and you're going to be surprised by one of them toward the end. But we're going to start out with my number 10 would be Alan Silvestri. Done a long list of movies, but notable ones are The Avengers, the first one, and they did Infinity War and Endgame. He's also did The Croods, The Abyss, Predator 1 and 2, and he also did the Back to the Future trilogy. So some great work there by Alan Silvestri, which comes in at number 10. Now, number 9, we have Bill Conti, another old school composer, most notable, and another iconic theme that he did, Rocky. He did Rocky 1, 2, 3, 5, and Rocky Balboa. He also did some other stuff for Stallone. He did Fist, Paradise Alley, Victory, Lock Up. He's also done The Right Stuff. Another phenomenal score there. the Karate Kid 1 to 3, and then the next Karate Kid. So another great slate of work by Bill Conte for number 9. Number 8, we've got Danny Elfman. His work is definitely, some of it's pretty, he gets pretty out there sometimes, pretty strange at times, but pretty damn good. He does a lot of stuff for Tim Burton. But most notable, I jotted down, he's done a lot of stuff, but the Men in Black movies, Beetlejuice, Justice League, Terminator Salvation, Corpse Bride, Planet of the Apes from 2001 with Mark Wahlberg. Phenomenal score there. Spider-Man 1 and 2, Sleepy Hollow, The Frighteners. So a good slate there from Danny Elfman at number 8. Now coming in at number 7, we got Basil Polidoris. He passed away in 2006. Another great classic composer. Does some of the older titles, but most notably, he did Conan the Barbarian and Conan the Destroyer. Great scores there. He also did the original Red Dawn, Iron Eagle, the original RoboCop, the Hunt for October, and Starship Troopers. He's done a lot of other stuff, but those are the main ones. So phenomenal for Basil Polidoris. Comes in at number 7. Now coming in at number 6, we got a composer that's not what you call classical composing. It's kind of more of a new age, but is still a great composer in his own right. Trevor Rabin. Incredible, powerful scores that just really knock your socks off. The most notable one is Armageddon. Incredible score there, and definitely one of my favorites. Also, Remember the Titans, another great score. The Glimmer Man. He also did Con Air, which he shared with Mark Mancina, which we already discussed. Enemy of the State, National Treasure 1 and 2, and also the National Treasure TV series on Disney+. So there, Trevor Rabin comes in at number 6. Coming in at number 5, we got James Newton Howard. His top one, he's done a lot of stuff, but his top ones would be King Kong from 2005, another phenomenal score. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Major League. The original Flatliners, The Fugitive, Outbreak, another great one there. Waterworld, Space Jam. And so James Newton Howard, number 5. Coming at number 4, we got Jerry Goldsmith. Another one that's got some iconic scores, who sadly passed away in 2004. Some great composers we've actually lost. So a big iconic score that he's known for is Star Trek, First Blood, Poltergeist, The Yeoman, Psycho 2, Gremlins, Hoosiers. Hoosiers, that's a great inspiration. That's one of those feel-good movies. Total Recall, The Untouchables, Rudy, Powder. Oh, another phenomenal score there. Air Force One, Small Soldiers, the original, The Mummy, The Haunting, another great one there. Hollow Man. And of course, we can't forget the iconic Alien. Definitely one of my all-time favorite movies that Jerry Goldsmith did. So Jerry Goldsmith comes in at number 4. Number 3. Now this one's going to be a surprise for you. John Williams. I know most of you probably think I'm smoking crack not to put John Williams at top, because he's one of the most famous composers, but yes, he is. He's got some great iconic stuff, and his library of work is just phenomenal. But it's just not my favorite. When I'm watching new movies from beginning to end, yes, they're very melodic. They got some great themes, but just overall, I had to put some others above him. And he is still composing. I mean, he's 92 years old and he's still freaking working. He's done all the Star Wars stuff, which was he's most noted for. He's done so much stuff for Steven Spielberg. Indiana Jones, Jaws, Saving Private Ryan. He did the first 3 Harry Potters, Jurassic Park, Superman, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Earthquake. We're going back quite a ways. Towering Inferno, so he does some good disaster movies. So yeah, sadly, again, you're going to see who I picked for number 2 and 1. You're going to be surprised that I had to put them above John Williams. I hated to knock him down, but just these other scores I just thought were better than what he's done. I mean, no, he's no slouch. I love John Williams, great stuff. That's why he comes in at number 3. Now, coming in at number 2, James Horner. Another sad loss. You know, he passed away in 2015. But definitely, he's got some iconic stuff as well, mainly Titanic. One of the best soundtracks ever done, in my opinion, from beginning to end. It's got the slow, melodic stuff and the powerful scenes that are just knock your socks off and test your system. In Avatar, he did the original Avatar, Deep Impact, The Amazing Spider-Man, Jumanji, Apollo 13, Braveheart, Patriot Games, Aliens, Cocoon 1 and 2, and then go back to, he did the scores for 48 Hours and another 48 Hours. So yeah, phenomenal work there for James Horner, and coming in at number 2. So before we get into number 1, we're going to run down the original top 10 before we get into that. So coming in at 10, we had Alan Silvestri. Number 9, Bill Conti. Number 8, Danny Elfman. Number 7, Basil Polidorus. Number 6, Trevor Rabin. Number 5, James Newton Howard. Number 4, Jerry Goldsmith. Number 3, John Williams. Number 2, James Horner. Now, number 1, he's not what you call classic musician. He does a lot of new age stuff, but he does great orchestral work. Hans Zimmer. Thinking of the work he's done, I just had to put him at number 1 because such a powerful body of work. He's done all 4 Kung Fu Panda stuff and all the other shorts and work for that. Also done Dune Part 1 and 2, Top Gun Maverick, Dunkirk, Pearl Harbor, all phenomenal work there. Broken Arrow, Crimson Tide, The Rock, which he did with Nick Glennie Smith, The Toys with Robin Williams, an old school movie. Backdraft, Days of Thunder, Gladiator, he shared with Lisa Gerrard, and of course, Prince of Egypt. So when you look at those, I just think all those are phenomenal scores. So when it comes to movie maestros, Hans Zimmer is my number 1 pick. Now, that being said, talking about all my favorite composers, let's jump over to my actual favorite movie scores. This was even harder. Got a lot of honorable mentions. I didn't quite make the top 10. And then we'll get into the top 10. But overall, a lot of this is going on memory. Some of these I've watched recently, some of them not so recently. So if I sat down and watched these all back to back right now, the numbers, the spots might change a little bit. But so I just had to go with my gut on a lot of this. So for honorable mentions, again, these are in no particular order. The first one we're going to talk about is Bram Stoker's Dracula. You know, it's one of those from beginning to end. It's just such an eerie score, very well done by Wojciech Keeler. I probably butchered the name, sorry. Next up, we got one from James Horner, Apollo 13. Great score. You know, wish I could have put that in the top 10, but just didn't quite make it. Next up is one from Jerry Goldsmith, Powder. This is one of those emotional movies. I mean, this makes me tear up whenever I watch this. There's just something about this movie, the way it's filmed, the music score, it really grabs at my heartstrings. And if you've never seen this, a very powerful movie, highly recommend getting this. Next up is one of my favorite ones from Randy Edelman, Dragonheart. Again, I wish I could put this in the top 10, but I just couldn't. But great, phenomenal score here. Then we're going to jump into a classic horror movie, The Thing, with from Ennio Morricone, or another name I probably butchered, sorry. But great classic theme, iconic. When you hear that main theme, it's just like, wow, it's the thing. Great score here, very top notch. Next up, we've got Backdraft, one from Hans Zimmer. Another score from beginning to end, great. And also it has some lyric songs along with it, which I forgot to jot down who did there's like 3 original songs in this. I'll pop it up on the screen, for you to check out. But yeah, they did some songs that went along with the movie. Next up, we have Blade from a composer I didn't mention. He's done a lot, he's done some stuff, but this is the most notable one, Mark Isham. And it's another one of those phenomenal scores that, from beginning to end is really good. Next up, we got another Hans Zimmer, The Rock. Of course, he did this with Nick Glennie-Smith, but another phenomenal score here. I wanted to have it in top 10, but just didn't quite cut it. And the last of the honorable mentions is a set we're going to talk about. Hans Zimmer and James Newton Howard, the Dark Knight trilogy. James Newton Howard shared the credits for the first 2, and the third one was strictly Hans Zimmer. But yeah, phenomenal scores here, all 3 of them. So that does it for the honorable mentions for my favorite movie scores. And then now we're going to get into my top 10. And coming in at number 10, we got Pearl Harbor, and another Hans Zimmer. Yeah, this is why I picked him as my favorite composer, because he does such a phenomenal work. And this is another great movie. Next up is one you're going to be surprised I put in my top 10, but I just had to. It's just a very powerful score. There's certain themes in it that are, when I'm watching, I just crank it up. It's like, fuck, this is awesome. Halloween from 2018, John Carpenter and his son Cody. Freaking awesome score here. I just had to put this in my top 10. Now, coming in at number 8, we got Jurassic Park from John Williams. Another phenomenal score from beginning to end. It's iconic. When you hear it, you know it's Jurassic Park. So number 8, Jurassic Park. Coming in at number 7, we have Armageddon from Trevor Rabin. Another phenomenal score. That's why I put him in my top 10. He does some great work. So coming in at number 7, Armageddon. Now coming at number 6, we got one of those feel-good movies. I watched this not too long ago when I was doing my True Story month. And we got The Right Stuff. And it's just got a lot of, from Bill Conte, it's got a lot of that uplifting music. And when you're watching it, it's just like, kind of gives you goosebumps. And just really good music here. So number 6, The Right Stuff. Coming at number 5, we got James Horner's Avatar. Phenomenal work here. I know a lot, this isn't on everyone's favorite wish, this is not everyone's favorite movie out there, but when you're talking about music scores, this is very well done. And I love James Horner's work. So that is number 5, Avatar. Now, coming in at number 4, we got another Hans Zimmer, Prince of Egypt. Phenomenal score here from beginning to end. Of course, I did a review of this 4K here, and 4K just enhances the audio track. This is incredible. So, Prince of Egypt, number 4. Number 3, surprise, surprise, another Hans Zimmer, Gladiator. He shared the credit of this with Lisa Gerrard, but this is another, got some iconic themes from beginning to end. This is a phenomenal score. I've got the soundtrack, great music here. So, Gladiator, number 3. Now, number 2 is from a composer I did not discuss at all, because he's done a lot of stuff, but he doesn't have a big body of work that I was interested in. But this is one of the favorite ones, Independence Day. This movie score is phenomenal. Another one from beginning to end. This is great work that David Arnold. He is also noted for doing Stargate movie. But yeah, so Independence Day, number 2. So to tally up my top 10 so far, coming at number 10 was Pearl Harbor. Number 9, Halloween 2018. Number 8, Jurassic Park from John Williams. Number 7, Armageddon from Trevor Rabin. Number 6, The Right Stuff from Bill Conte. Number 5, Avatar from James Horner. Number 4, Prince of Egypt from Hans Zimmer. Number 3, Gladiator from Hans Zimmer and Lisa Gerrard. And number 2 was Independence Day by David Arnold. Now, my number 1 favorite movie score is surprisingly is not Hans Zimmer, my favorite composer, but runner-up, James Horner's Titanic. Again, this was a hard list to put together, but just thinking of the music from beginning to end, I just had to put this at my number 1 movie score because this is a music score that just rocks your socks off. I mean, it's got that a lot of that melodic, slow scores, the slow themes. And then it has those scenes that just amps up the intensity to where just this will push your system. When you're watching this, you crank up. It's just a phenomenal music score. So my favorite music score, Titanic from James Horner. Which, a side note, was my favorite 4K from 2023. This was my favorite 4K. I thought was so well done. So 2 of my top lists, Titanic has made. So yes, this is my favorite movie score. Again, some of these positions might change if I watch all these back to back, but I just had to go with my gut on these. So there you have it. That pretty much wraps up this video. I know this was probably pretty lengthy. Even after editing, this is probably a pretty long video. But I just want to talk about, movie Maestros. I haven't seen much talk of that on any of the other channels. So I just wanted to get that out there, kind of beat some people to the punch. Talk about my favorite movie composers, my favorite movie scores. So please comment below. Let me know what you think of these. What are some of your favorite movie scores? What are some of your favorite composers? I mean, did you know about all these I've discussed? If not, please check out some of them because they do some damn good work. So please check out my other videos on my channel. Like, subscribe, turn your bell notifications on, and we'll see you soon. Geek out.